Oh, hello folks, welcome to another video from myself, Fraser. Here we are in Frankfurt Airport. We decided to take the brand new CRJ, the update Volume 2 CRJ out for a wee flight. Just to see how this new update works. Out of just force of habit, I always seem to get into this habit of restarting the whole sim just in case there's any issues, like with the PMG 37777s and the Flight Sim Studio 727s. I've always found bugs with it, and so I've always just resetted the game just to make sure it all works correctly, and it's just a force of habit it's become now. But we are going to see how this, I'm not a real world pilot, I'm not going to be running through systems and all the rest of it, but it's more just to for those who are similar to me, knows enough just to get by. We'll do a flight and see how this new update performs, and yeah, we'll get back into the cockpit once this loads up. We'll do a cold and start, and we're going to be flying from, I'm just looking at my flight plan. We're going to be flying from Frankfurt main airport, and we're going to be heading up to Goleniow in Poland. So we'll be flying up to Poland, which is on the border, with basically right at the top of Poland, between Poland and Germany, in that corner there, that northwestern corner. So we just reset the thing just in case there's any bugs I've always found recently. It's just frustrating when bugs do happen. The 737 you can't start. If that bug thing that happens, we have to reset the whole thing. That bug won't let you start, but the 777, it does let you fly, and then before you know it, you realize that there's a bug and there's no going back. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to come into here, we're going to set this up. I'm just going to pause this video quickly, hold there. Right, we have just loaded up Navigraphs, just signed in. So we will go through this and just download this update, which I think is a great, that's, it's frozen, so we'll just wait for this to unfreeze itself. Hopefully this hasn't actually frozen the whole simulator. Oh, that was, for a moment there I was actually just googling freezes and whatnot, but thankfully that did not freeze. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come through here, go to aircraft, and we're going to open it all up. And we're going to start cold and dark as well. But let's have a little tour around the aircraft, like a real world. Gosh, it's really slow, isn't it? My can I go out through the door here? No, that's as far as we can go. We mustn't have the right visas to enter Germany, so oh well. But we'll do the old cliche little look through the cabin. Gosh, this is what all of these YouTubers do, don't they? They go through the cabin, check it all out. Wow, look at that, folks, a cabin. No, it's good that they've got a cabin in here, so we can come back and if you're one of those simmers who likes to chuck it in autopilot, then reminisce about sitting in these very tight and narrow oh, what am I doing? Yeah, if you're a type of simmer who likes to sit in these while you're flying and just reminisce on being in these tight, cramped conditions, I mean, it's not for everyone, but hey, we're all nerds in a way, aren't we? I am certainly tick all the boxes for being a nerd, that's for sure. But yeah, we've had a little look through the cabin. We might explore that later on, but it's everything that you need, isn't it? Just a simple cabin. Right, let's get this thing powered on. I'm just going to push F and let's start with... Right, we've got the power thing connected. Just having another look around. Right, it's very much the same as our last CRJ video that we did. Nothing's really changed. What we'll do is turn on the battery. It means remove, so I need to connect it. So chuck it in, power in use, then we'll come down to here, we'll turn on the nav light. What else? As you know about my videos, I do like things. Right, oh that's good, you can actually click and drag now, that's promising. There was one bug with the CRJ that I always found annoying was you couldn't drag these. It had that very old logic. As we know, it took them for a long time to do any updates. No, that's really good that they've done that. That they've fixed these sort of... Well, so far so good. Do these... One thing I'd like to see if... Now, for some reason, the buttons I assign on the joystick do not correspond with these here, which is... It's a weird thing. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Right, now... I guess we can fire up the APU, so you click power fuel and then start her up. While we're doing that, we'll select these 3 to auto. This is just going off a video that I watched on... I think it was a YouTuber called Fly Phil Birdie at a real world CRJ when this first came out on Flight Simulator, and that guy said to keep that 3A off until you're about to push back, so we'll do that. And that's quite cool, the little start thing is eliminated there. Illuminated. Oh man, my English is my first language, but man, I struggle with it. Anyway, we'll turn on the air conditioning, get that ready, turn on that one, get the air conditioning into the cockpit, into the cargo hold, and we'll turn on the this flow is just what when I first learnt this, I was brand new to these sort of aircraft, like as I mentioned many times in the past, like I had no idea how to program this, and I tried flying it like the Airbus and ended up spending many months sitting in the hangar, and I thought, this is not right, we've spent a lot of money on this aircraft, so I better learn how to use it. So I watched that video which just came out at the same time, and I just picked out the bits that I really wanted to learn. I went through everything, like learning how to do all of these tests and whatnot, but then me being me, like with my schedule and whatnot, my life, I just wanted to know the basics and just enjoy it. I'm here to enjoy my simulator, get what I want out of it. And I've done all of these tests and all the rest of it once, twice, maybe 5 times, and then I decided that's not really for me. I just want to get in and with my limited time, and yeah, we're going to select this to do I? Right, we'll select this to APU, while the APU is on. And we, right, getting a bit carried away. Let's get cracking, Let's power on the this is all powered up. Let's get into programming our flights. So we've done all of that. One thing we will do, for some reason when I first watched this the video, I had these off until we were turned on the aircraft, but I've rewatched that video again, so these come on. Thrust reverses, flight plan. Just minimize that for now, and we can turn on the RSs, engage the stab and muck trim, engage the yaw dampener, so all of that's all sorted. Select that standby, this is just my little flow that I've done, kind of thing, if you know what I mean. We might do this, we'll just use the data, we'll just enter it raw for our first flight, and then on our way back we will see if we can use Navigraph and SimBrief and load it all up. So, alright, we will come into here, initialize our position, which is EDDF. We can just grab this, copy and paste, so that updates where we are in the world. And I'm just going to push the magic B button just to set and I have to come in here and set my altimeters, like so. Right, we will enter in our flight plan, so EDDF, go into this Polish airport, Goleniow, so that's EPSC, enter, and it's just a random flight number, but same Lufthansa's call sign, but just a random. I always seem to gravitate to doing 332 or 312 for those numbers. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's, I don't know, man. Anyway, we'll do that. What's our departure? So all of the aircraft on Flight Sim, not Flight Sim, Flight Radar are using these runways. So yep, that seems about right. So we're going to use runway 27 center. Hang on a second, I'm just going to reset that. Yeah, all of the aircraft are using 7 centers, so we'll go to our departure page, we'll select runway 7 center, and our departure is going to be Tobird 1. That looks about right. So this FMS, if you're new to these things, this one does have a flow, like you go in it, then it goes flight plan, so you click flight plan, and then you can enter in the rest of your flight plan details, and then when you've done that you go into the Perfinite page. It's got a very logical flow to it, especially this one here too. And this is how we enter in our flight plan, which is good to know, like when you're getting used to these things, and especially if you don't have a navigraph suppression or whatever, like you can enter this flight plan into here. It's not hard. So, and like with most FMSs, the waypoints sort of seem to go on, the airwaves are on this side and the waypoints are on that side. I mean, it's not always like that, but predominantly most FMSs have this sort of setup when you're entering in your waypoints and your airways. So anything with numbers, that's an airway, it always goes in the airway bit, and any of these like letters, they are usually your waypoints. And this one's just a direct to aura tag. And then another Zulu 20 to mag. That's when it's a 3-letter thing. That's a that would be a VOR, and then N746 to Rico. What I'm going to do is see, this is annoying with SimBrief. You need to like look at if it's got one of these really weird, like the same waypoint kind of thing. I don't know why they do that, but we might actually just what am I going to do? I'll just put in, I'm just going to try something. Engine, good. Cool, so I'm going to see if I can override this one. Perfect. Yeah, so if you ever see like two like airways, just go for the last one, because it tends to mess up your FMS kind of thing, and I don't know why this happens. If anyone is a pilot can explain or whatever, that'd be really good. But yeah, that's a little workaround there. So just make sure you read the flight plan. If you see like two airways, just select the first waypoint and the last one. Just skip this one. Anyway, good top, and we're going to Bodler, which is going to be our final waypoint. Then we go into our start. Oh. And this is frustrating when they can't find airways. It's going to be a bit annoying sometimes, but what I might try is I'll go to my departure, I'll go into my arrival, and I'll select RLS approach. So we've just sort of, because that wouldn't let us put that last waypoint in, but we've sort of found a little workaround by just entering in the star, and that will take us to that waypoint, which works. I'll just see if that I might just have to enter in these waypoints manually probably. Mind you, it's just one waypoint. Oh no, it's two little waypoints in that airwave, so we'll enter those in. Little workarounds, if a waypoint won't come in for some reason, you just have to, at the end of the airwave, you just have to enter these in manually. This one is Racket. It's coming out of flight plan page. I've got a legs page, we'll just sort of tidy this up, we'll just get rid of this. You can copy and paste to clear up that discontinuity. Execute. And now we can enter in our perfinite page, so we're just going to do what I used to do from the beginning and just enter in our zero fuel weight, which is going to be 28,665, so I'll just run that up to 27A. Enter, and our block fuel, we can just leave it at that. In real life, if you had extra fuel, you can't just siphon it out, so we'll just stick with that extra fuel. So we've got an extra, basically 400 grams of fuel, 400 kgs of fuel on board. Grams is not cooking here, not baking. Then you go set in payload, and then copy that into our flight plan, which should load up just like so. So that all looks pretty good, and then we can at the same time we'll just set all of our speeds into here like so, which is perfect, and our cruising altitude, well, it's going to be 29,000 feet initially, then we are going up to 37, so let's just see what makes sense. Oh yeah, we're going to get up to 29,000 feet before we get to... That is a big jump between 29 and 37, so where is 37? We'll just go straight up to 37,000 feet because that's not much of a... It's a big jump up to climb altitude, cruising altitude, and then we're pretty much going to be hitting the top of descent anyway, so we'll just make it 37A. Oh, and this one here you have to do flight level, and execute, and then you enter in this data here, so -19 and -1, so -1 and M19, so you either do plus P for plus or N for minus when you enter in this one. Execute, and our taxi fuel is 227, which is about right, and our reserves 6. Almost like, we'll make that 900 kgs. It's probably closer to 1,000 with that extra fuel that I have on board. Now we can go into our VNAV setup. So our trans altitude, I think it's 5,000 or 6,000 feet in these. Yeah, 5,000 feet. Execute. Next page. Yep, that looks... You probably have it different because obviously that's kept my data that I've saved into this FMS, so I've set it at /.77 is our cruise speed, and our descent speed is 77/32, so that's what I set permanently in the sim, and I'll show you how to do that. It's just something that I learnt when I was watching that Phil Burt's video when he had a real world American CRJ pilot, and he said that's what he sets in these in here for his company, so I just followed that. You can do it. What's our .65 execute. So that's how easy our setting up our flight plan is. Minimize that. So that's our flight plan, that's all set. What we would do is, we should go into I think this is plan mode, and we go to flight plan or legs. And you just push these up and down buttons, and you just make sure your flight plan looks relatively okay, and there's no waypoints that are... That's interesting. Oh, that's... So it's coming back this flight plan, so it's Remo Guptog. We'll just get rid of that one. It's like it's going back on itself, so just go... This is why you go through this flight plan. This is why you use this and just make sure it all adds up. That looks a lot better. That's a good example why we always check that, because sometimes I don't check it. I'm pretty lazy. I just go, yeah, that's close enough, and be in for a rude awakening when I get to that waypoint. But it's good to check these things. I was going to say, before I came across that little error there, and I was like, oh, what's going on? I was going to say, the reason why we do that is make sure there's no waypoints that are taking you out to Australia or New Zealand. But yeah, that's our FMS all set up. We can basically push back the aircraft. Now we can close her all up and push back, and we'll taxi our way down to runway 7 center. What we will do, we'll set up our trims as we're taxiing out, as we're pushed back, so we can basically close up everything. Do I need to turn this off? Yeah. Turn off the power. I don't want to give them electrocution. Right, we are basically set. We can now turn on this hydraulic, turn on our beaker, turn on all of these lights, whatchamacallit, make sure you turn on your fuel pumps. So I might just select that to both. Right, we are now ready to be pushed back, to get pushed back, so we can release the parking brake. Away we go. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see it. I like it. I like everything else. Like, it just seems like just the same. But they've got the cabin, and I think they've updated this a bit more too. So yeah, we'll see how it all works out. Right, we can start the engine now. Turn on that one. Or they start engine 1 first, don't they? Oh, it doesn't really matter. Oh, we must keep that. Oh, I'm just going to stop there. Okay, we do keep this to APU. And now let's try and start the engines now. Fuel is on. What have I done wrong? Okay, this is new logic. Now you have to hold down to get the engine started. Right, we can now introduce the fuel. We can now turn on our transponder. I thought I did the yaw down, so I'll just push these again. Oh, we'll set our altitude while we remember, so flying at 37,000 feet. Alright, we'll turn on this other engine too while we're at it. Remember to hold it down this time until that light comes on, and then you can, and then it works. Once it gets up to above 10, we can introduce the fuel, and we'll turn on our radar as well. Right, we'll scroll this altitude up. And we will set our landing altimeters, our landing altitude 156 feet. So make that 160, 40, 160, and we'll set our trims as well. So if we come back into our performance page, our trim is going to be 6.8. So come in here and select 6.8. And we're going to do flaps 8 for takeoff, so you can select flaps 8, and we'll enter in our runway heading as well for when we take off. Runway heading is 66. A bit of a balancing act trying to see where you're to see everything. So that's set. We'll just arm our heading mode and navigation mode, and we are ready to go, folks. We'll turn on our taxi light, release the parking brake, we will turn off the APU, and it's a double thing. You turn it off, you power it off, and then where's my mouse? You power it off, then you click the stop button, the start stop button. And we are ready to go, folks, ready to start our little hop over to... Oh, and turn on our nose wheel steering too. That seems to work a lot better. Right, we're off to Poland, folks. I really do enjoy it. I get so much enjoyment flying out of this plane. I really enjoy flying it. It's a bit of a... something different. Something different and enjoyable flying this. It's got... and that's good to know, you got your takeoff config is all good. And we'll select this to both. And we'll turn on our probe heating and we'll go to manual crossfoot flow thingamajig for our takeoff. It's in our list anyway to do. Right. Bit of a bump here. Now we can just check our flight controls too, make sure they're all working. Really does have like a high idle speed, doesn't it? This it really pulls away on you when it's at high idle speed like this. Oh, Lufthansa 747 about to take off there. And by the looks of it, it is the 747-8. No idea what it's doing. For a moment there I thought it was going to use just that length of runway, but we are going to be using full length runway for our takeoff. A lovely freeware airport too, by the way, this Frankfurt airport. I highly recommend getting it from Flights in TO. And if you want to, you can always bring this down if you like the old HUD. It's pretty handy, as any heads-up display are. Looks like another little CRJ over there. Looks a bit smaller, doesn't it? It's not a 200, is it? Because I don't think Lufthansa flies 200s anymore. And we should get back on the centre line. Right, we'll do a packs off takeoff. I don't know if they do that in real life, but we'll turn off our packs. That's on, our probe headings are now on. We'll just turn on everything, shall we? And make sure before you take off to push this little button here for your to engage toga takeoff mode. And I don't know why my laptop's decided to do this, which is annoying. Right, we are just going to take off. Right, power on. Select climb, then take off, go around, and away we go, folks. And these little bumps in the... oh, thank goodness that wasn't one of those bumps. Now hitting our takeoff speed, we can now gently pull up. Gear can come up. And we just sort of keep it on that 15-16 degrees pitch up. Looking at a nice climb out of Frankfurt. Can't really hear much in the cockpit, can you? Right, we'll turn on our autopilot, select navigation mode, and we'll select speed mode. And we'll increase this up to... do I have any speed restrictions? That's the question. No, as long as we're below 250, so we can go into speed mode and select 250. We'll select 220 first. Our flaps can come up now. Can turn off our reverse thrust, we can select this to climb, and we can come up here and turn that off and turn our packs back on, and we can now just enjoy our climb. Climb out, and we can push the B button to sink it to... Look at that, a nice departure out of Frankfurt. And you definitely do need to do, I think it's 25 right landing when you're flying basically eye level with the city there. Now I really do enjoy flying this aircraft, it's a lot of fun, and it'll be interesting to see how much, like I'm not a systems detailed person myself, and what we had with the version 1 was fine with me, but there were little bugs and whatnot that I believe others were annoyed with. But no, I think this seems to be working quite well actually. I'm really happy with this, and it's great now that we have a cabin that we can enjoy. But we'll close the door. And I think that's basically us for our departure. I might go outside and enjoy the view from the outside and speed it up a bit. So just make sure that's in climb, these are off, everything's all... We can now turn off our landing lights, we're above 10,000 feet. We can release the people and just pretend that this is no devices. And I think that is us really. I will set the speed bug to 290 for our above 10,000 crew climb. Nice aircraft. I mean, this looks pretty much the same really, but all in all it's all in all, it'll be interesting to see how much has changed. We'll see what the sounds sound like at the back, eh? I did get an update for the Boris sound pack, so I'm not too sure. I didn't really hear like the air conditioning unit going and all the rest of it, so I'm wondering if, who knows, hopefully it works. Just seeing if we can hear the engines as we get near the back here. Need to have a look at that and see what's going on with that. It's the old engines at the back there. Nice view off the back there, isn't it? This would be a really cool seat to have, I reckon. Right, we'll go back up to the front here. We'll need to have a look at that. But yeah, that's basically everything we need to set for our flight. And we can probably go up to 2 times. It will be interesting to see if the weather radar works. We probably won't be picking up any weather today. Nice bright clear day up there. Bright sunny, crystal clear day. Oh, one thing we need to do is we go to our menu here, we'll select VNav and we will get rid of the airports. The left side, the right side can have this on. And you can have the airports on. And we'll just go to this direct to page so we can see what our rate of descent we need for when we get to our top of descent. Going to go to for an extra bit of warp speed now, speed this up a bit. Nice view of the German landscape, isn't it? Lots of little farms and very heavily agricultural based. And then you've got pockets of forest, which is pretty good to see. Yeah, it's a lovely aircraft. It's nice that it's finally gotten some love that it's so much deserved over those 4 years since, well, when it came out. I think it had like a little service pack in it that for a long time there it had basically nothing. We'll just set this to local time, shall we? Yeah, it had for a long time absolutely no love at all, and now thankfully it's gotten lots of love. We'll set this to Mach 7.77 because we're in the Mach range now. But yeah, it's great it's got this update, and hopefully Hans will continue to update it over its lifespan. It is a really nice aircraft, and especially when it first came out, it was definitely a very expensive package back in the day, and the least they can do is bring it up to a good level of standards, and also as well I hope, like, for the likes of people who fly on Batsim and whatnot, hopefully they have got the holds and all of those sort of different things all modelled into this aircraft, and then it's just a case of coming through here at a later date and just like giving this a bit of a refine for those people who like their detail in the cockpit. So we're going to come down here, we're just going to set this to this little nut just around about here, I think, and that will hopefully set our speed. I'll just let this drop just a little bit, just get it back on at that Mach 0.77, and then we'll just sort of raise it just a bit more, ever so slightly on the throttles there. And you set it, like the cruise speed you set is 0.77, well, what this guy, this video I was watching, Fly Philbert, when he had this rear wheel pilot, he set the cruising speed, his company, they set it to 0.77, and then just enough throttle just to maintain that speed, and it will slowly sort of speed up. But I found when I'm setting the thrusts, I found that I'm usually around 0.78, 79, just ever so slowly slowing down. You want it so it's gradually speeding up, it's not slowing down for obvious reasons, but when it starts slowly, gradually speeding up, you'll find that it will max out at 0.78, 79, so you know that's perfect. Yeah, so that little marker there is sort of sitting around that little nut there, which is an indicator of where you sort of want to have your throttle set, but at the moment it's sort of holding quite nicely. I do have to say, out of the new liveries that are coming out around the world, I do like, this does look nice and crisp and clean. It's a shame that they done away with the yellow finishings, the yellow touches. But it's a lot better than the new Korean Airlines livery, that's for sure. That's it's definitely a livery I'm not a big fan of. I feel like some liveries you should just stick with tradition, stick with what works. Not too sure I can't zoom in anymore, but right, I think that's all pretty standard. We'll keep it on this page for our landing reference speeds when we need them. But yeah, if you come into your, I think it's index, isn't it? You come into defaults, this is where you select your defaults, so always found every flight plan I've done, I've set that to 227. And then I've set my cruise speed to /0.77, and then my descent speed 0.77/320. So this is where you come to set that. And if you're flying in Europe, you might as well change this to to a number that more suits you. Or if you're flying in New Zealand, if you're flying a CRJ New Zealand livery, you can set that to 13 or 14,000 feet. Or if you're an American, just keep it at 18,000 feet, the trans altitude. Alright, we should probably think about setting our minimums as well. So our minimums is going to be MDA, because it's a ILS one, so I think we're I think we are a Cat C, aren't we? Yeah, we are a Cat C. That's for like prop aircraft. I mean, it doesn't really make much difference. So 360, we'll set 360 into our. Click that to MDA, and you have to push this reset button, and then what was it again? 360. Like so. And that's set. And we can see it's now just slowly, gradually speeding up, and it probably will max out, like I say, around the 0.78, 0.79 mark. So we'll just slow this down. We'll do what pilots would do. We'll set our initial descent altitude to 10,000 feet for flight level, and we'll come into here. We'll select this to let's go back to doing it in tens, whatever it was, and we will, what's our, we can start our descent now. We'll start it, we'll keep it, we'll have it at like, we'll use vertical speed mode, so I'll select the most restrictive one, which will be 1600 feet. So we'll come into our vertical speed and select it to 1600 feet per minute, whatever it is. And we can just sort of ease back on the throttle so we don't overspeed, and we can just now use this here for to set our corresponding vertical speed. I'm gonna go speed it just to plan up again. And I think the weather radar, if you ever wanted the weather radar, where is the weather radar? How do you turn that thing on? Is it in here, is it? And if you can select these bearings, it's good if you're doing VOR flying. If you're relying on a VOR, you can select these for your bearings. That looks a bit too much there, so we'll just get rid of those. And we're doing alright, we're keeping thereabouts on that, hitting that speed bug, which is good. This is another way to descend. We do have a VNAV advisory, I must have selected that. You can use that as well, but we'll do it the old-fashioned way of descending by going off this here and setting our vertical speed as required. And in theory that little snowflake thing should, in my previous video I was just keeping that, I was just increasing and decreasing the vertical speed to keep that little snowflake onto that profile there, which means you're pretty much hitting the target. I'm just going to scroll that up to 0.7 just by 100 feet. And another way I showed you guys once is using your speed and setting your speed. Now we've gone out of the max zone now, so we'll set that to 320. And we want to go to get to 10,000 feet, we want to set this to 1.9, 1900 feet. Like I say, I'm not a pilot by any means, but I've just been using various videos to gather all the information that I needed, and through that, hopefully, for those who are not wanting to be pilots or not wanting to like go hard on all of the systems and whatnot, I hope you find my videos as a nice happy medium there between realism and just getting out and playing the thing. Getting out and enjoying it. You know, because not everyone has unlimited times in their lives, so everyone's got their different, you know, like different commitments and whatnot. We can now just slowly pull our speed back a bit, try and get it onto that 320. And make sure you keep an eye on that, make sure if that changes you update your vertical speed as required. But yeah, all in all, I really do, like, even through before the update, I always found this jet a pleasure to fly. It's a mixture of manual and automated flying. It's like that happy medium, and it's also like, because it was in real world operations, because I guess a lot of people like flying the MD-90s or MD-80s because it's a bit like this. But it's, I mean, you can replicate nostalgia flights, but it's something about like going on to as we can see, we can drop that down to 1600, so we can just go like so. But it's also nice to just like see a real world flight and something different like CRJ and go, oh, I want to replicate that flight, and jumping in that. Looks like it used to be a former airport, or maybe an Air Force base there. Looks like the solar, what's that relate? Is that water? Is that solar panels? No, that looks like Monroe, doesn't it? A former airport. But yeah, it's cool going on to flight radar and go, oh, I want to fly that. Oh, that looks different, and this is why I like flying this. It's different from the Airbuses and the 737s. It's got that automation that you need, you know. It's got enough automation to be able to do these sort of RNAV approaches, but it's got enough manual just to keep you thinking about things. Keeping you on your toes. Right, because we can now turn on our passenger signs, and because it's just us, we can now turn on just get set up for our arrival really. Turn on all of our landing lights so we don't forget. And we might as well scroll this down to 240, 250 hour. Just so it's ready, we'll just start slowing the plane down. And we can now set our altitude to, we can now come into here and select the, what is it? I think I've already done that anyway, haven't I? So we can, that will go down in the hundreds, so we'll select, what's our next restriction is 6,000 feet, so we'll select 6,000 feet. And 6,000 feet, what's our... You can now scroll this up to 1,300. As long that guy that did that, that pilot that was on Philbert's channel, he said start your top of descent before you actually hit the top of descent, so keep on top of things, and doing that, it makes sense and it keeps everything quite, you know. And we should get this, say it's just above 10,000 feet, so we're basically hitting that waypoint, so look at that, that's perfect. And I think it's changed now, so 900, we can change that to 900 feet per minute. And then remember to put that speed back on again, that's a bit too much. I'm just going to turn off sim rate now, back to normal. I mean, this is Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 I'm using, but it's still really good graphics, isn't it? Still good scenery. Using, of course, like Bing Maps. And I think you can... So I'm using speed mode now. You can actually use this for your descent, and if you just get your controls thereabouts, you can just hold that rate of descent by keeping it. I'm just going to take that back down to 250. So you can actually use this now like a bit like automatic autopilot, auto throttle kind of, auto speed kind of thing. So it's just going to keep that rate of descent. And if we just use a bit of, just keep that snowflake thereabouts, keep it on profile. So using the autopilot to keep that speed, and then we're manually going to adjust the throttles just to, or use the spoilers just to keep that on profile. And we're almost getting to our trans altitude, isn't it? 6. Just giving it a bit more speed. Get that little snowflake on profile. We'll get, I'm not too sure they do this too much in real life, but using the spoilers now just to bring that speed back a bit, or bring that profile back a bit. And now we can push the B button to set our altimeters, especially if you don't have a ATC to tell you what the trans altitude is. Looks like beautiful landscape, doesn't it? I can imagine that would be a bit more grey colour in real life, but I guess it is reflective of the Right, we're just going to select our final approach fix, which is going to be is at 1700 feet, so I'm sure that you pronounce that. Where is it? Goleniow? Try my best here, folks. But yeah, it looks like another nice beautiful day in Poland here. Nice, beautiful spring day. So I've just got that happy medium off, almost idle throttle, and then idle thrust, flight idle thrust, whatever you say it, and just using just a little bit of spoiler just to keep that little snowflake on profile. And we are now coming up to our ILS, and this pilot suggested another guy, just from here you can go into heading mode. And then while you're in heading mode now, you can activate approach mode. And we'll pull the speed back to just below 220, so we're not coming in too fast. Just using a bit of spoilers just to get that speed down, get that profile onto target like so. Get that little snowflake into that little, and then we can we'll start our turn onto approach. And it looks like it's gonna hit that ILS automatically anyway, so we'll just make sure we set this to our one thing we do need to do is, oh no, it's done it automatically, it's set course is 306. And we'll just select our because we didn't do that turn early enough, it sort of pushed us out a bit, so we will I'm just going to come in a bit more, and then I'm just going to go back into arm approach, and we're going to set our landing speeds. I set all. This is a bit of a problem, I can't select my VREF speed. I mean, I can do it manually, so that's going to be 140. should have done this before I got here, but we'll see if we can. Oh, and before we do anything, we need to turn on our thrust reversers so we can use them. It sort of seems to be sort of just below the ILS a bit there. I'm not too sure if it's just the speed I'm going or what, but it doesn't seem to be working that well there. So I'm just going to take control and...
1,000. Sink rate. 500. Sink rate. 400. Sink rate. 300. Minimums. 200. 100. Sink rate. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And touchdown, folks. Not a bad landing, I must say. I was coming in a bit high there, but for some reason the it wasn't capturing that ILS. But we've made it, folks. Right, we better turn on our APU and we'll take this turn here, eh? Alright, we'll find a car park and that will be our flight. And probably we'll finish it there. Maybe we can do a return flight somewhere, just have a think about that. But here we are, folks. We'll stop right about here. Looks like it's a taxi in, taxi out kind of setup here. And here we are, folks. We've landed here. Landed at Goleniow. And we're just going to shuttle down. Like so. The APU is now on, so we can turn that off, put the transponder standby, beacon lights can come off, that can come to off, 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 fuel pumps can come off, probes can come off, and we can now release the passengers. And here we are, folks. I hope you enjoyed that video, and we'll probably do a return flight at some stage. I might do something else now, but thank you for being a part of this video, and we will see you again very shortly.